So the Indiana Fever have a Kelsey Mitchell problem, and it's not really in the way that you would think, because Kelsey Mitchell hasn't been terrible this year. She has not been terrible this year, but as time goes on, it's very clear to me anyway that Kelsey, Caitlin, and Aaliyah cannot coexist at this point in time. I think the one constant is that you can put Aaliyah on any team. But also, you have to take into account that while, yes, you can put Aaliyah Boston onto any team, Aaliyah Boston's significantly better when she's running, when it's Caitlin Clark's system. She is significantly better. But Kelsey Mitchell, we all know, we saw it in 2024. Kelsey Mitchell has the ability to play off the ball. She has to be, she has the ability to be off the ball. She has the ability to be one of the best cutters in the league. She can be one of the best off-ball runners in the league. However, that was how she played in 2024. When we got into the 2025 season, start off the year, she struggled a bit. We all joke about May Kelsey Mitchell versus June Kelsey Mitchell. And then, even this year, and then when Kate went down, Kelsey Mitchell became a on-the-ball player, exclusively on-the-ball player. Kelsey cutting was very rare. Kelsey's shot creating reps were higher than ever. Kelsey's off the ball reps were unbelievably down. Like, her off the ball reps were barely a thing anymore. And we've got to be honest, with those off the ball reps going to nearly zero, you've now got two players fighting for the basketball in Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. And yesterday's game, it felt like the first quarter was all Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. Or at least the first bit of the first quarter. And it just felt like we're trying to get Kelsey involved. We're trying to get Kelsey some touches. I'm like, that is one of those things where I'm like, this is one of those games where you don't need to get Kelsey going. And like, you don't need to get Caitlin going. For me, when it comes to the Indiana Fever, you basically have to run around Caitlin Clark. Like, you give the ball to Caitlin Clark and she'll get other people free. Like, that's one of those things we know. We know Caitlin is there to get people free. That being said, there is a big problem. And it's not that Kelsey Mitchell can't play with Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. I don't think Kelsey Mitchell wants to. Like, that is the big difference, is that because we know that Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark are, when they run the pick and roll, they are absolutely ball dominant. They are really, really ball dominant. And the only looks Kelsey Mitchell is going to get are backdoor cuts and catch and shoot and late shot clock drives. I still think she can average 20 a game doing that. The problem is that when it comes to Kelsey Mitchell, she can either commit to being the third option, or she can fight it and be the fourth try to be the first option. And it feels like she's trying to fight against Caitlin Clark to be the first option. That's just what it feels like. And I've said this plenty of times. This is not like, you can make the same argument and say the Indiana Fever have a Caitlin Clark problem. You can make that same argument. If you believe that running through Kelsey Mitchell and playing chaos, not even chaos ball, just like unstructured ball, and we're going to go ISO ball, and we're going to drag teams down and make this a case of, if we hit more tough shots, we're going to win. Then yeah, Kelsey Mitchell, you keep Kelsey Mitchell. And I was listening to No Capsule yesterday, and they were like, Stephanie White is really good at coaching the 2023 Connecticut Sun. And when Caitlin Clark went down, they were basically a 2023 Sun. And I've said that plenty of times. She's good at getting a team that has no expectations to punch above their weight. And if that is the team the Indiana Fever want to be, if that's the team the Indiana Fever think that they can be, we have to look at this argument in a completely different way and say the Indiana Fever have a Caitlin Clark problem. The problem is that Kelsey Mitchell, the way Kelsey Mitchell wants to score, the way she wants to score, the way she wants to play. And there's no question that Kelsey Mitchell has an ability to play a different way. But I'm sorry, like all the accolades, all the first team, all WNBA, all the playoff success has come from Kelsey Mitchell playing ISO ball, hero, has come from hero ball Kelsey. And that's all she wants to be. Kelsey Mitchell wants to be the guy. She wants to be the hero. And I genuinely think that the time for Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark to be on the same team is gone because Caitlin Clark needs the ball. Like, you've got Candace Parker talking about, I'll talk about it again, like Candace Parker being like, this is Caitlin at her best when she has the ball. Caitlin has the ball. This is her at her best. And that is obviously like, that's a big one. That is a really big thing. Is that suddenly she has the ball in her hands again. And Caitlin looks like Caitlin Clark. When Caitlin is off the ball, I say this plenty of times, she's Timu Marina Mabry. She's Marina Mabry when she's off the ball. Yes, Caitlin Clark can get better being off the ball. But you don't force her off the ball. There's a big difference with saying, okay, yes, Caitlin, over the course of her career, needs to improve off the ball. That is a factually correct statement. But what is wrong is saying, Caitlin Clark, who at this point in time is not a good off the ball player, we're going to force her into off the ball reps. And we're going to make our team struggle. Like, let's be real. You were an overtime and a Caitlin Clark game winner away from being 5-7 instead of 7-5 against two of the worst teams in the league, where you had 17 and 19 point leads. There is a huge problem, and it's the fact that, again, in the non-Damiris Dantas minutes yesterday, Caitlin Clark was plus 21. The non-Damiris Dantas minutes. Yes, Caitlin Clark was left on the floor with Damiris Dantas. That is Stephanie White's fault. But in the non-Dantas minutes, Caitlin Clark was plus 21. Kelsey Mitchell was minus 2. The big three don't work together. They just don't. And we saw yesterday what Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark can do. And let's be real, nearly everything Aaliyah Boston got was from Caitlin Clark. Nearly all of Caitlin Clark's assists were to Aaliyah Boston. Caitlin Clark averaged 4 assists per game to Aaliyah Boston last year. Caitlin Clark to start this year was averaging under 2. The ABCC pick and roll was gone. And we just saw them completely destroy a team with it. And the problem is now, is that if you guys don't know, this is basically the spacing. So we're going to go and talk about the spacing right here. But this is the way the Fever used to space the pick and roll. So a lot of the time with the Fever, this was back in the day, and this is a big problem when it comes to Stephanie White as well doing this. So if you remember back in 2024, the ABCC pick and roll was 80 to 90% of the time. Like, they did other stuff, but like whenever they just ran the high pick and roll, Kelsey Mitchell was always here. Lexi was most of the time here. Caitlin was dribbling to this side of the floor. Aaliyah was here. And Nalissa was here. Like, they isolated one entire side of the floor. Or else Lexi was here. But what happened most of the time was this. Caitlin went right to here. Aaliyah came in the short roll here. So Caitlin would come across this way. If she's going to the basket, if Aaliyah's defender steps up, she would then slot it to Aaliyah here. Kelsey, so often. Boom. Let me go backdoor. Or even if it was Lexi in this scenario here, where Lexi got to the was in this corner here, and Kelsey started off in corner, Nalissa in the dunker spot, Aaliyah setting the screen, and Caitlin. In these scenarios here, Kelsey Mitchell has this free reign to spot up, or if Caitlin gets to here, Aaliyah's out to here, she can curl that screen for the off ball. And the problem is now is that this is how the Fever run every single pick and roll. So instead of Kelsey Mitchell being able to work on the weak side, you've got Caitlin. The first screen is always Kelsey for no reason. Kelsey sets the first screen and Aaliyah comes in to set the second screen. And Kelsey off this screen, most of the time, just kind of runs, just is worried. While Caitlin's coming off the Aaliyah screen, Kelsey's running away. So the Kelsey Mitchell weak side option is not there. Like, in this current system that Stephanie White wants to play, either Caitlin or Kelsey, and please do not quote box scores at me, being like Kelsey's still at 19. Kelsey is a black hole. When she touches the ball, the shot's going up. And in fairness, she made some good playmaking plays yesterday. She passed the ball a few times, but like when she has the ball, you know the offense is ending within 6 seconds when she touches the ball in her hands. But yeah, it is like it's a rough one. It's a rough one to see because this is a combo that worked so well, but now they pretty much can't play together. But anyway, yeah, I'll see you guys.